sexy Dexter fans. So, oh my Lanta. Okay, first of all, I'm in Newport, Oregon right now, and I'm sitting in the garage as I record this, so sorry for like the crazy echo. And yeah, so okay, Argentina. I went to Argentina tonight and I came back and I'm not sure if I'm entirely alive. I laughed, I cried. This was actually the first episode to legitimately make me cry, and I'm sure you can imagine why, especially in light of various opinions that I have shared with you guys on my part. So spoilers before I get any further into this. I'm just kind of flying off the cuff here, just sort of spilling my guts before you all as we work our way through this crazy episode. And I have some very strong opinions on things that are currently happening right now. And so if you are one that is disinclined to hear people voice their, very explicit opinions, then just take what I say with a grain of salt. And as always, comment below. Feel free to disagree with me. Whatever. First of all, I have to say that I much preferred this episode as compared to episodes 6 and 7, which were very heavily Hannah oriented, and it was just really frustrating for me because so many things were getting sidelined in the process of the writers exploring that relationship that I was just like, okay, get on with it, like where is this going? And I heard earlier in the day that there was going to be a confession scene, and I was just like, it's happening, it's happening. I just, like, my stomach has been hurting. It was like hurting for the past 2 hours just waiting to watch the episode, and have terrible internet here, so it like took half an hour to buffer, and I was like, I probably went to the bathroom like 3 times before I could even start watching it because I just knew what was gonna happen, and I knew it was going to be extremely hard. So where to begin? We start off the episode and, it's the morning after Hannah and Dexter's second love scene. And Dexter's like, was that a bad dream, in regards to Deborah's certain phone call that was made at the end of the last episode. Excellent cliffhanger. So I knew that we were in store for something crazy. And so, they're just kind of enjoying breakfast together and talking about how they keep not seeing each other, and well, it's obvious that they have become intertwined to some extent. And actually, I have to be fair, I have issues with Hannah, but I really like her as a character. They really painted her in a very sympathetic light from my perspective in this episode. So I see there is something really authentic to her, and there's a part of her that wants this sort of innocence, this happiness, and yet she is beyond the point of being able to attain that, and so she kind of embraces her darkness. And so I like the different facets of her personality and how they expanded on those in this episode. Yep, so they're trying to figure everything out, and then Dexter kind of spills the beans that Deborah is sort of his sister and his lieutenant and his boss. And well, obviously that's a little bit of an issue for her, as not everybody is abiding by the same code of conduct as they are. So there's that scenario, and then Dexter finds out, and I'm probably going out of order. This is a very dense episode, so bear with me. So Dexter finds out that all of the kids are going to be coming into town. The grandpa's having a surgery, and so he's trying to figure out, how to house everybody under one roof. I need to backtrack because I forgot one very important scene, which is the scene where Dexter confronts Deborah about her certain inquiry regarding his services towards people. And he's very clear with Deborah that he is not going to off Hannah, as Deborah is so desirous of. And we saw that coming. Of course, he's still trying to keep the whole relationship thing under wraps, It's kind of confusing for him as well, and so, you know, he's probably not the best time to bring that up. And so, suffice it to say, Deborah feels really hurt and betrayed in the fact that Dexter is so unsympathetic towards her, and the fact that she even asked. And he's talking about how he wants to protect her. You know, it kind of harkens back to the episode Swim Deep, where he was like, you know, I've always been the one to dive into the waves while Deborah stays safe on the shore. And so he seems to be kind of sticking to his guns in that respect, maybe being a little bit, you know, manipulative without Deb knowing, in that, you know, he has these feelings and he doesn't want to betray them, however new and exciting and weird they may be. So there's that whole sack of bananas. And then, yeah, so he finds out that the kids are coming into town, and of course, at the same time, Isaak is ever on the move. And it's interesting because, you know, George is trying to convince him to lay off, go home, let this go, da-da-da-da-da. And you can sense that there is some dissonance within the brotherhood, and which is actually kind of hinted at more in a phone call that George is making, and they're kind of talking about staging a coup of some sort. And I thought that was in regards to Isaak. If I'm totally wrong, just let me know. But so Isaak, you know, he's already deemed himself a sort of outsider, and he's finding himself more on the edge of the fray as he continues to pursue his mission, and follow his passion in that respect. And so there's the whole shooting scene at the donut shop, and the scenes with Mental Harry were very interesting in this episode. You know, Dexter is kind of like processing things. He wants to get some donuts, get some goodies for Deb. and Harry's like, so you think that you're gonna help her like shake this off by giving her like a sugar rush? And yeah, obviously Dexter is grappling just anything he can hold on to, anything that makes sense that might help. He's just trying. And then of course, now it was really funny because when Isaak fired the first drive-by shot into the donut shop, it looked like the bullet like went through a jelly donut, and like the jelly was all over the wall. And so I thought that the guy behind the counter got killed, but it was just the donut. So very clever, you guys. That was funny. I had to laugh at that like a minute later. And so Dexter ninjas his way out, and you know, he knows that Isaak is an issue, and he's, you know, just trying to deal with everything at once and trying to compartmentalize, and he can't. And so as the kids come into town, Deborah agrees to let them all stay with her in order to protect them from Isaak, who kind of sort of knows where Dexter lives. Yeah, people find this out way too easily. Poor guy. Google has kind of betrayed him. But, oh yes, and at the same time, LaGuerta is continuing to push into the Bay Harbor Butcher case. And as I predicted, she's really going solo with it. You know, Deborah has been kind of sidelined by LaGuerta in this respect, especially as LaGuerta is sensing that she and Deb are no longer on the same page. And of course she's looking at her brother, so it's like, obviously, it's sort of like how how Dexter is trying to keep Hannah under wraps, you know, just trying to side projects. So she's kind of going off on that, and there are various scenes that are kind of interwoven into the episode that are showing that she's really onto something, which kind of culminates in her going to Dexter's boat, and she's talking to Captain Matthews and stuff too. So, or the former Captain Matthews, you know, she's going to her former higher up to seek some help, as you know, Deborah's probably not going to be so good about that. Yeah, so there's that whole scenario. Quinn is just screwed into a happy little corner, and I'm not so sure how he's going to get out of that. You know, I heard a rumor that somebody important was going to get killed in this episode. It didn't happen, but I mean, I guess Quinn is just kind of metaphorically dead right now, because, you know, he's he's kind of wrapped around the pinky finger of the Koshka Brotherhood. You know, he's gotten screwed over by George into having to work with them, and George has this evidence of the evidence that Quinn disposed of in the whole, you know, trying to release Isaak thing, and so he could be just totally have everything blown out of the water for him at any given time. You know, you go on these nice dates with powerful guys, and they tend to have recorders, so you know, nothing is off the record, you know, it's just nothing is. So poor Quinn, rest in peace, rest in pieces, whatever's gonna happen to you, whoops. You know, he's trying, but you know, I just sense that things are going to be going downhill for him pretty soon. And now, I think I've kind of touched on all the other little things that have been going on. Batista has gotten his restaurant, and that's really cool. So I don't know if he's completely, oh, my foot's falling asleep. I don't know if he's completely done at Miami Metro. It's not exactly made clear. I mean, but he's got the restaurant, so that's cool. You know, all the kids go meet up there. Aster's still kind of like on the fringe, you know, she's evidently she's very smart, she's in AP classes, and she's smoking the marijuana on the side to keep the stress down. And you know, it was an interesting scene where Dexter and Deborah confront her about that whole scenario, and how Dexter talks about how some vices that are used to you know, to fight stress ultimately cause more problems than the process of relieving the stress. And you know, interesting kind of metaphor to his own dark passenger. And I think Deborah kind of recognizes that, you know, the way that she's watching him and just really like, huh, you know, she's really kind of jiving with him in that. And so it was a cool moment. Really good to see the kids again. You know, it had been way too long, so it was fun to have a scene with them all back together. And yeah, and then Hannah's discovering more about Dexter and that he has a family, and it seems that Hannah had wanted one herself too, and so she's, you know, at first she seems really distraught when she finds out about this, but she very quickly lights up after Dexter explains, and she's like, I want to meet them. And you know, like she really does seem sympathetic in a way, you know, like a lot of people are kind of comparing her to Lila, and very rightfully so. I see a lot of kind of Lila-ishness tendencies or potentials with her, but you know, she really does care about kids, whereas you know, Lila tried to kill them in season 2. So that's good for you, Hannah. I'm glad that you could be, I don't know, trusted, but you like kids. Dexter likes kids. That's cool. So they're kind of convening in that, and Dexter is falling ever faster, and then Deb drops the bomb. The big nuclear, icky, wonderful love bomb. And you know, I found out just an hour or two before I watched the episode that was coming, and so I was already very emotionally charged for that moment. If you guys don't know, I'm very much in favor of Dexter and Deborah together, and it doesn't make sense to a lot of people. A lot of people are really liking Hannah a lot, but I still see their relationship as very problematic, or at least wrong, or not as right as even Dexter and Deborah are for each other. In the midst of all the chaos, you know, they have been each other's anchors. They've been there just through it all together. And wow, if Jennifer Carpenter does not get nominated for an Emmy for that scene, I will freaking charge down there and I shall whoop some little man booties and make sure that situation is remedied very quickly, because just phenomenal performance. I was in tears. Like, I was literally like this the entire scene, just like my eyes bugging out of my skull and just like tearing my hair from my flesh, and just wow. I had a strong feeling, you know, that if that scene was ever gonna come, Dexter was gonna run away like a little pansy, and he did. But the fact of the matter is, Cats is out of the bag, and it just tore its way out in a way just phenomenal. The way that, you know, the way that, like, how Deborah kind of laughed when she first discovered that, that Dexter was with Hannah. You know, it's that, like, you're hurting so much that you just start laughing because you absolutely, there's just a complete emotional breakdown and you don't know how to respond. And so I think that that was just such a fitting way for her to react, if anything. And just the way she broke and the way that the truth just tore out of her like a caged animal, finally, you know, just wrenched the bars apart just enough to get through. It was just incredible. And that look of complete and utter, "You said what?" on Dexter's face. And I was just like, I was pretty much holding my breath, just waiting for him to respond. And I'm like pushing my hair all over my face. Oh man. Yeah, so I don't even know. And just poor Deb. I don't know what to even say about that scene. What did you guys think? What did you think? Because I can't. My heart is just, like, it was beating so loud I could like barely even hear. I had my headphones in and I'm just like, my soul. It was just so intense. Wow. I'm so glad that they didn't save that for like the very end of the season. I'm very curious as to how things play out, especially with Dexter's encounter with Isaak at the end. So, you know, another cat's out of the bag, you know, about Isaac's sexuality. And I had called that, you know, I had talked about that in a previous vlog, so, you know, that was something I'd figured out. My other foot's falling asleep. Okay. Yeah, so that was a really neat scene, and I appreciated that a lot. The episode was very fast and full and rich for that scene. You know, they really prolonged it and just allowed Isaak to really shine through it. He's on his last legs, and to him, revenge is all he's got left. And he talks to Dexter about just the power of love and what kind of a force it can be, and how sometimes it seems strange and even inappropriate. And I'm just thinking, Deborah, you know, like, obviously it just ties in so much to that scenario that Dexter just confronted, and he's probably, you know, and Isaak calls him out, and that Dexter is a scientist, and he looks at how everything has to be logical. And to Dexter, there's, you know, even though in the episode Chemistry he talks about things between him and Hannah as being very wrong, I think that to him he sees a certain logic to it, and so it makes sense, and he's like, okay, this must be, you know, this must be working. But, and you know, his love with Deborah, you know, if it were to take that romantic direction, it, you know, it does seem wrong and inappropriate, and there's a lot of barriers that they would have to throw themselves over. But, you know, I'm just saying, they could make it work. They are truly all that each other has. And if Dexter is going to sacrifice Deb for Hannah at any point, it ain't gonna go so hot for him. It ain't, because, you know, his loyalty, I'd like to think that it lies with Deborah, especially, I mean, he killed his own blood brother in season 1 just to protect her. So, I'm just saying, there's a little bit of a precedence here. Yeah, and then the way the episode closes out, just kind of, you know, sweeping across, you know, where everyone's at, and talking about Argentina, that place that Hannah had so idealized. And Dexter's like, you know, Argentina is just Argentina, and we take all of our baggage with us no matter where we go, you know? Like, we could dream of any kind of escape, but we take ourselves wherever we go. And so, yeah, so I thought that that was a really cool monologue. I was really frustrated at how when he went back to Hannah's nursery, like, you know, he was talking about we go to the places that make us feel like home, and I'm just like, Deborah's your home. What are you doing? And then Deb's just smoking a joint with Aster, and I think that's such a fitting way to just show where Deb is at right now. I'm absolutely terrified for the two of them in the next episode, which I believe is called Helter Skelter. So let me know what you guys thought. That was crazy. It was so good, so good. And I hope that I touched on everything. If there's anything that I missed, please let me know, because I'm just sort of like going psycho here. So thanks so much for watching. I might even make a midweek video if I feel like I have more stuff to debrief on, but Dexter, what are you doing? Yeah, so it looks like if you guys watch the preview for next week, yeah, the plot ever thickens, and Isaak is going to find any possible way to get at Dexter. First going to the heart. Yes, and so I'm going to be writing my Dexter Daily review. When that is up, the link shall be below. Thanks so much for watching, subscribing. All you guys are fabulous. So I hope this video uploads on time, because I have like internet as choppy as the waves of the ocean that I'm right next to currently. So yeah, thank you for watching. I've said that like 20 times. Okay, I'm just gonna leave before I like die all over you. So ciao.